You're in the Stampede, West Virginia Metro News' only show dedicated exclusively to the Thundering Herd. Here's your host, Dave Wilson.
Well, that was a tough 27-24 loss last week to the Ohio Bobcats. Tough-fought game, though. But you look back, and you've got to think, looking back, missed opportunities if you're the Thundering Herd. Missed opportunities in the second quarter. Missed opportunities turning the football over. And to be quite honest, missed opportunities with a couple of booth reviews that didn't go Marshall's way. If they go Marshall's way, it could have been a different game. Of course, if Marshall doesn't turn the ball over 3 times, it would have been a different game. But a 27-24 heartbreaking loss to the Ohio Bobcats. Now Marshall must regroup and travel to Houston this week to take on what will be a very tough Rice Owls football team. Joining me on the Stampede this week is the host of the Insider Sports Line on Metro News affiliate WRVC in Huntington, Paul Swan. And Paul, you got just as good a look at the game as I did on Saturday. What were your impressions?
I think Ohio's still a really good team. You've got to take that into consideration. Marshall faced a team that last year pretty much whipped them. Ohio came in Huntington. They didn't have any reason to think that they wouldn't win that game, and I think that's what prevailed for them. They were confident. They knew that they were going to win that game. They had no reason to feel otherwise. Plus, I think the difference there is they've got a team that's a little bit more experienced than Marshall. You mentioned mistakes, turnovers. Those things are going to happen in the game, but with Ohio, they're a little bit more of a veteran team, so you don't expect that as much out of them as you would with this Marshall team right now.
Did a little bit of Marshall's youthfulness show through in that game?
I think so. I mean, they don't have that many seniors, so the senior leadership is still maturing, growing. But you have a quarterback who hasn't had as much experience in the Rakeem Cato the way that the Tyler Tettleton has. And Tettleton just knows how to make plays. That kid is everywhere he needs to be. And so I think the youth there, plus the fact you have a veteran quarterback, I mean, he's more experienced than Cato. Cato's probably the better athlete, better quarterback if you're looking just on pure potential. But Tettleton is more of a field general, I think, at this point in the game.
Paul Swan, the host of the Insider Sports Line on WRVC in Huntington. That experience, though, will come with time. You look how long Frank Solich has been at Ohio, 8 years now with the Bobcats. It's hard to believe he's been there that long, but it's taken that long to get to the point where now he has the luxury of playing redshirt juniors, redshirt seniors, instead of having to force freshmen and sophomores into action. And Marshall's still at that point where a lot of sophomores and a lot of true freshmen still out there in action learning on the fly.
Yeah, I think what's frustrating for Marshall fans is you had this cycle once with Mark Snyder, and now it's a reset of the cycle. And the reason why Mark Snyder's no longer here is because he wasn't able to get Marshall's program over the hump, and he took a different opportunity elsewhere. But for Doc Holliday, he had to come in and start anew. And you see now there's kids that are coming in. They're young. He's able to at least bring this team to the direction he wants to take them. And that's going to take time. That's the one thing that, you're not going to see instant success at this level right away.
Talking with Paul Swan, host of the Insider Sports Line on WRVC. That's probably the most frustrating point you bring up, Paul, is we're always, and I use the term we as in the Marshall media and the Marshall fans, we've been talking about next year and developing talent for, it seems like, for the better part of a decade. That's, I think, where maybe the fans are getting frustrated. You talk to them every day through your show there in Huntington. What is their feeling?
It's mixed. The fans are excited about what the potential is. They're excited for things like Rakeem Cato. You see what he's been able to do so far, and you think, wow, a few more games in, some more experience, and he's really going to be something to look at. And you see fans temper that understanding that there's still some youth here, there's still some inexperience. These kids have got to come together and gel. But that's center. You have fringe that are going crazy. You look at the internet message boards, it's fire Doc Holliday, fire Coach Legg, fire Coach Rippon, fire Conference USA is down. Conference USA is horrible. And, of course, the added sting of losing a close game to Ohio is making a lot of people go crazy right now because what fans are remembering so fondly are those 1990s when Marshall was top dog, and Marshall was able to build a program to the point where they could leave Southern Conference, join the Mid-American Conference, make the move up, and for several years were able to dominate and had some success.
Well, 2 points on that statement, Paul. If Cato floats that pass just a little bit more, gets it over the linebacker, nobody's mentioning any of those things on the message reports. Secondly,
I disagree on that.
Really?
I think,
you don't think?
I think you still see some angst because if it wasn't how Marshall lost, it's sometimes how Marshall wins, or Marshall barely escaped. You can't.
Well, if they're going to be mad, they're going to be mad all the time, right?
They're going to be mad, exactly. I don't fault Cato or that particular sequence of plays or the turnover. I don't fault that for the loss. I think Ohio just played good enough to beat Marshall. Marshall's defense played better than expected. We saw a good performance by Marshall's offense. It's just one of those situations where Marshall's defense isn't going to win the team any games anytime soon, and so any mistake is going to be critical.
Talking with Paul Swann, he's the host of the Insider Sports Line down on WRVC in Huntington, a Metro News affiliate. Offensive-wise, we know about Cato, we know the numbers, we know the passing game. When's this running game going to get going? Is this the week? Rice has been susceptible to the run so far.
This might be the week, but at the same time, Rice is also a team that likes the run, and we haven't seen much success on Marshall's defense yet. They're facing a team. Rice is similar to Ohio. I think that's an advantage for Marshall because Marshall will have a little bit better of an understanding of what they're seeing when they face Rice. But if you look at what Marshall's been able to do, Marshall has been pass heavy, haven't found any consistency with the running game. And as far as what Rice is going to do, Rice is going to come in and run the ball. You're going to see them come in, and I'm not going to say that they're going to put up points like a video game, but they're going to get their points. You look at their opponents. They played some really good top-level teams, and offensively, they've been able to move the ball.
Yeah, they start the season with UCLA, played at Kansas, beat Kansas at Kansas, played a tough Louisiana Tech team. So Rice, no slouch, and took a late Tron Martinez touchdown last year for Marshall to beat the Owls at Jones C. Edwards Stadium. Paul, is the Herd Insider going to be in my mailbox when I get home today?
If it's not, I'll make sure you get a subscription next week. I will effort that because we're pretty proud of what we're doing right now with the Herd Insider. It's really taken off. I think in the past it's been a really good publication, but with the addition of Jack Begajic coming in and bringing a fresh take on everything, it's really an exciting publication, which I encourage all Marshall fans to try to get a hold of. And the best way, I always tell Marshall fans this, the best way to get a subscription to the Herd Insider is just increase your donation or join the Big Green, because for the price of our subscription and for the price of basic Big Green membership, combine the two together, you get it easy. And
if they can't get enough Paul Swann on the air, they can get a little Paul Swann in the Herd Insider as well. Got a column in there, don't you?
Yeah, I'm doing some of the Olympic stuff because we've got a lot on football and the main sports. So I think what we've started to do with the Herd Insider is it isn't your game recap paper anymore. We still got stuff on the past game, but we're doing more features, more articles, looking ahead, looking forward, and honestly, we're doing a great job, I think, of touching on some of the sports that you normally don't see that much coverage on. I've already done stories on Marshall's swim program. I had a great, not to pat myself on the back, but I was just so pleased with the outcome. A conversation with Mitch Jacobs, Marshall volleyball, and this was just after the Moorhead match. And I talked to him, and we talked about how turning this program around was key and how Marshall needed to get a chip on their shoulder. Marshall has been on a roll since, so it was great timing. And I went a little offbeat this time, Dave. Club hockey, which West Virginia and other programs in the tri-state area in the region have. Marshall's trying to get their club program back and going. So a neat little article, I think, on that.
He is Paul Swann. He is the host of the Insider Sports Line and contributor to the Herd Insider. Is that a accurate title?
I would say columnist.
Columnist, okay. Okay.
Yeah, columnist, because we have a hierarchy. Jack Beganjic is our editor. We have bumped Woody Woodrum up to publisher. That means he's got to take care of all the business and do all the heavy lifting. And we've got a good run so far, and I'm excited and pleased to be a part of it. And I will make sure you get your subscription. Just email me your address, and we'll get that in the mail for you.
And one of your other dubious titles, Paul, partly to blame for where I am today. So,
do you claim me? That's awful nice of you.
You're part of the reason. You're among the people my wife curses every Saturday while I'm working, and she is not doing anything. She's at a football game instead of hanging out with me. So,
you know what's funny though? One of the people who is responsible for my career, Ernie G. Anderson, long-time radio personality in this market. He's one office over from me, and I blame him daily for my career in radio. So I will take that. I will take that responsibility on from your wife.
All right. Thanks for joining us on the Stampede, Paul.
Thank you, Dave.
And take care. Paul Swan, the host of the Insider Sports Line and columnist for the Herd Insider. Well, Marshall will take on Rice. The road trip to Houston, one of the longest of the year. That is a kickoff at 3:30 Eastern Time from Houston. We will have coverage all week and post-game coverage at the website, wvmetronews.com. Email me anytime, dwilson@wvradio.com. I read all the emails. Doesn't necessarily mean I will respond to all of them. Also, follow me on Twitter, WVMetro, I'll get it right one of these days, Tyler. WVMetro_D Wilson, my Twitter handle. For Tyler Mertens, Paul Swan, I am Dave Wilson. Thanks for watching.